everybody's favorite internet villain, Ajit Pai, is at it again. This time, he's now trying to kill a program that helps poor people afford the internet. As if, taking away net neutrality, which happens on today, isn't bad enough. He, of course, wants to make it even more difficult for poor people to access the internet. Now, what this refers to specifically is something called the Lifeline program. Now, the Lifeline program was actually a program that's been around for a long time. It was created under Ronald Reagan. Now, the Reagan administration said, okay, let's do something for poor people so they can go and access landlines if they need it, even if they can't afford it. It's a good start. It was also expanded later on in the Bush presidency to cell phones. Now, what's interesting is that Republicans, they'll go and look back on this program and call it Obama phones. Oh, we're going to give you Obama phones now. It's part of the Lifeline program. No, actually, if you go back into history long enough, it's actually a Bush phone. Because George W. Bush, under that administration, they're the ones that actually expanded the Lifeline program to cover cell phones. But anyway, that's where that comes from. So now back in 2016, they took the Lifeline program and they said, okay, look, here's what we're going to do. We're going to make it more efficient and we're going to make it cheaper. Now, how are we going to do this? Well, for one, we're going to go the neoliberal for-profit option, which means we're going to bring in competition. Now, some of this mandated, that at least 9 different companies be able to go in and compete with each other for these subsidies. So this is a government subsidy. This is government giving you money to be able to help you afford your cell phone plan. Okay. Now, in 2016, they also mandated the creation of the National Lifeline Eligibility Verifier System to make sure that only those eligible to receive Lifeline are able to do so. And this happened under President Obama and Tom Wheeler. So the reason they did this, we want to save money, we want to cut down on waste, fraud, and abuse. Funny how we get these kind of reforms under a Democrat. But anyway, now one good thing that they did during these changes in 2016 is that they began to shift the Lifeline subsidy to include broadband internet access. Now that is a positive step in one direction. But some of you might be thinking, but Jeff, why do poor people need broadband internet? I mean, why should we pay for these lazy bastards to sit around and Netflix and chill on our money, on our dime? Go get a job, losers. But wait a minute here. The problem is that in this modern world, an internet connection is necessary. So, for example, there's a lot of most employers require you to fill out applications online. And according to FCC member Jessica Rosenworcel, she is a commissioner, homework assigned to 7 out of 10 K through 12 students in the U.S. now requires internet access. So if you don't have the internet, you can't do your homework. That's crazy. When I was growing up, we didn't have that. Now in schools these days, an internet connection is required to even do your schoolwork. So, and again, people have to have the internet to get jobs. And look, also it allows you to keep up with family members, communicate and things like that. But again, the main point of this is to help people get connected with different careers and to be able to, actually move up and be able to afford things. But anyway, so, look, personally, I believe that that access to information should be a fundamental right in America. We have gotten to that point where, yes, internet is a right. It is so ingrained in our society now that you need it to function in society. So that's what I think. Now, we don't do that, and it shows when you look at the data. For example, according to Pew Research, a little over half of American adults with household incomes under $30,000 have a home broadband connection, and 1 in 3 have a smartphone. And you may think, smartphone, what do you need a smartphone for? Well, again, smartphone is able to connect you to employers. it actually does have internet access, which actually allows you to fill out things like applications and things like that. So again, it's one of those devices that is multi-use, that is unfortunately necessary in today's society. So, as I said before, the FCC in 2016 modernized the Lifeline program to give broadband, and it actually gives them a $9.25 subsidy for communication services. It's not very much, but it is something. Now, when they did that, there was one commissioner that was very, very unhappy about all this free shit we were giving to the poor. And of course, it's Ajit Pai. Very, very unhappy. So he threw a fit. He's like, why are we giving poor people all this stuff? No, there's corruption in the FCC system because we're giving all this money to poor people. I would like to give it to the corporations, and I would like to give the corporations every single advantage they can. So, of course, now that he's chairman of the FCC, that's exactly what he's doing. According to Wired, Pai is now proposing to make changes that will destroy the Lifeline program overall. Not overtly, he can't just cancel the Lifeline program, but he is making changes to it that would, for one, discourage people from signing up, actually make it more difficult, and also cut the competition, which would raise prices and make the subsidy worth far less than it is currently now. So he's undoing a lot of these Obama-era changes and is making the program, as I said, worth far less. Now, let me give you some of the examples here. For one, Pai proposes to make the Lifeline subsidy available only to those companies that own their facilities. For example, wires, towers, and other infrastructure that make up networks. And the problem is that 75% of Lifeline customers get their service from businesses that resell capacity of companies like Sprint and T-Mobile. So this is going to benefit larger companies, obviously, at the expense of the consumer, because it's going to get rid of some of this competition. Joe, imagine that. Ajit Pai helping out giant telecommunications companies. Where have we seen that before? Crazy. Now, they also go after what they call waste, fraud, and abuse. In so doing that, Pai has introduced a series of hurdles that would prevent people from easily signing up for the program. So, hey, government, we don't like government bureaucracy unless it comes to signing up for Lifeline programs or food stamps or things like that. So that's what Pai is doing. He's putting bureaucratic hurdles and red tape in the way of people being able to sign up for this program. Now, finally, he wants to place a hard cap on the budget of $2.25 billion and has actually questioned of, hey, why do we need that much? Maybe you should give us less, Republican Congress, because we don't really need that much. No, 90% of that budget is used. And so, okay, maybe we can take off 10%, and then maybe we can take off 10% more. But no, most of that budget is used to provide Lifeline service for poor people who need it. So, again, they're going to cut the budget. They're looking at cutting the budget. That will, of course, reduce the amount of subsidies. And with the lack of competition, that's going to make the subsidies worth less. So at a certain point, people are no longer going to bother. And then that'll give them the justification to axe the program for good. And then they can shovel that money off to God knows where. This is how this game is played. This is how Ajit Pai is working to mess up the internet. Not only the internet, but mess with poor people's livelihoods and their ability to get jobs and communicate and to go online. This is what it's all about, man. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.